All right, welcome everybody to the Helm developer call of June 10th, 2021. Let's start with our usual pattern and announcements. So yesterday was supposed to be a patch release, which we canceled because it fell within 4 weeks of our 3.6.0 release. So there was no release yesterday, but the next one will be next month, second Wednesday of the month, which will be July 14th. Summer vacations are coming. We don't know what to expect, I think, in question in respect to activity. So I don't know if the more senior maintainers want to explain a little bit, usually what happens in the summer, how the community reacts.
All right, if nobody else will. It's like when you get around the holidays, right, at the end of the year, there's people on vacations, there's other things going on. And so sometimes activity can slow down a little bit. I think the spring and fall are peak points, but I know I'm not going to be going anywhere. And there's some interesting activity going on, some of which is up for discussion today.
All right, so no more announcements listed. Anybody else has something to add before we jump into the potentially short discussions that we have today? All right, discussion it is. HIP number 6. I think that's the one Josh has been working hard on, which is for the OCI. Josh is not here today. Can anybody talk to that point?
I added that to the agenda just because I saw a few people had commented, or at least one person had commented, but perhaps more people wanted to either weigh in here or on the issue. And I see Farina unmuting and turning his camera on. So Farina.
Well, I was just going to add some context. So there is HIP 6, which was on our path to turning charts in OCI registries as, a GA thing. And it looks like Josh did a lot of it or all of it in one monster pull request. That's 3 commits and touches 60 files. And so I'll ask as many people as possible to go review this, because we really need to give this a good once over.
One question I had about that, I was just skimming through it. I saw that the experimental chart command has been removed by the patch, but there's a bunch of files that are under command Helm, which are not under the internal package. So I was just wondering about the backwards compatibility stance we have for that. Any opinions? Well, basically, can we remove files from command Helm? I would think yes, but
yeah, as long as it's, I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to, but if there's nothing user facing, whether that's developer or on the command line, then we can move stuff around.
Yeah, and it does remove it, but it's one of the features you'll see with the commands. They are hidden on a feature gate. And so these commands were included as part of the experimental. So if you don't enable the experiment, they won't even show up in a command listing. But if you enable the experiment, then they show up in your command listing and you can use them because they're hidden.
Okay, so I had seen that it's okay to muck about and change stuff that's outside the internal package, as long as there's no user-facing impact.
There's a whole HIP on what you can change. That's currently in flight that touches on it. It's one of the I forget the HIP number. But yeah,
4, I think.
So there's a HIP about what we can change there. What was neat about this one was we had to expose it somehow. And so it was put behind the experimental feature gate and considered to be part of the experiment. And so I think the only thing
Okay.
he's doing is he's removing the commands that were all part of the experiment. And that is one of those things that that we've talked about. How do we still maintain backwards compatibility even after that fact? Because it becomes a lot of hoops for us to jump through with the experiment to maintain that, and also have the way we move forward too.
All right, thank you for the clarification. Anything else on the HIP 6 in Josh's absence?
I'm wondering if Farina or Adam can give us what they think next steps forward are, other than get people to review it.
Hold
I
people
would think-
hostage so they review it.
I think just next step is reviewing it and then see what comes out of that.
Yeah.
And Adam, you mentioned that it is a large PR, which it is. Do you think that it would be better for it to be put in incremental fashion, or is that even not feasible given the magnitude of the changes?
This is the first I've looked at it, so I don't have an opinion yet.
Me neither, because I've only started to look at it.
Okay, well, if we have a goal for getting this in by the end of August for 3.7, then it would be great if everybody has time in the next month, I guess.
What I would really like is if we could get it in July, so we can work with those of us who live on the bleeding edge with builds at times, can work with it and just make sure that it doesn't break anything through our daily use. And then that'll kind of help us with that. Because I think with such a big change here, we'll really want to get people playing with it for a while before we put it out there. And the whole world says, oh my gosh, you broke me, because we didn't get enough time with it.
Yeah, definitely the sooner the better with this one.
There's excuse me, there's seven files in package action that are being removed. That's public API, isn't it?
Well, only if publicly exported functions are being removed.
Wait, which ones are being removed? Yeah, this is my first time looking.
Yeah, same here. Package action, chart export, chart list, chart pull, chart push, etc. They're in package instead of internal.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that. You bring up
All
an
right.
excellent point here. And it's one of those things we will have to go take a look at because it is part of the public API. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they should have maybe been in the experimental pack or the internal package. All right. Any other points on OCI changes? Still exciting changes. The next item was just deleted. Bridget, didn't want to have it anymore? Okay.
I just moved it down because I want to make sure we get a chance.
Oh,
to
it's at the
talk about
bottom. Okay.
parts.
I just saw it. PR backlog, Martin M. is pointing out that we have a lot. Good point.
Yeah, I just
Go
bring
ahead.
this up. It's not a complaint, but obviously the way to become a contributor and maintainer is to get a few pull requests in. But when there's such a big backlog, it can take a long time. It's a very long and slow process. But you know, as generally as a product or a tool having that many PRs, some of them must be very stale by now. You know, and what is the plan to kind of bring it down to a manageable level? Or is there one?
Quite honestly, it's usually teeters somewhere around or just underneath 100 open pull requests at any time. And so it's actually gotten high. And I'm hoping that somebody else takes up issue triage for the next couple of weeks, because I was hoping to start going through some of these. Because you're right, a lot of these need to be dealt with, and we've gotten a little behind on it. And so I'm hoping if somebody else can pick up issue triage in the next few weeks, I'm going to start going through some of these. But the more folks we can get reviewing these, and in particular, if folks want to help review them, because that's one of the steps into becoming a maintainer, to give constructive feedback. So often I see other folks coming along to the pull requests and just giving it approve, looks good to me. And then I start going through it and I find some obvious things that need to be altered or tweaked or updated to be our coding style, or it's missing tests or things like that. And if other folks were able to give some of that feedback more quickly, it would be really helpful. And that's on the road to somebody becoming a maintainer, because they show that they give good feedback, because we all need feedback. Even when I create pull requests, sometimes it's like, oh, you missed something, check this out. And I need that feedback too.
Okay, so so anybody could go in and review them.
Yes. In fact, we look for
basically.
people to do that on the path to becoming a maintainer, because they show they've got the time, they're looking for the right things, they understand Helm and what to say. And so if somebody wants to become a maintainer, going in and giving good reviews of pull requests is a great way for us to identify somebody.
Yeah, but should we wait at least until the tooling runs the gates, right? Or because in some cases it's just blocked on
Yeah,
the test doesn't run at all, right?
Yeah, well, some of the stuff still runs in the background. That gates the GitHub's actions from running, but Circle CI, for example, still runs the tests and reports back. And with GitHub right now, I think the only thing that we're running that's gated is CodeQL. It's the security scan. I think that's the only thing that's gated at the moment. So the other stuff does still run, and I would go ahead and give people feedback anyway.
Mm-hmm. I think we also help to try to recreate the problem and see if the fixes it. I mean, a simple test will help as well, right?
Yeah, testing it, seeing if it verifies the fix, that kind of thing. If there's something that needs code comments, or a test is written, some folks will write tests, but they write it in an entirely different style from the way Helm does tests. And we'll want the test to be reformatted to be the same flow and use the same tools that we use. Little things like that can help get something into better shape more quickly.
That's a good suggestion.
All right. Any more?
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing this up, Martin. Next item on the agenda is the proposal of bringing in more repos in the Helm organization from Chart Museum.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight this one in case some of the maintainers hadn't noticed it yet. Again, we had a little bit of discussion on that one, but it's just Josh had proposed some of the Chart Museum repos being added for Helm org membership. And there's probably comments people might want to leave on that, so we can take action or not on that. And that's all I had on that. Just kind of a, hey, attention.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. That was the last item on the discussion. Is there anything the maintainers or the community members would like to bring up? This is your chance. We have 15 minutes. If there's nothing, I was going to at least mention that we're going to try. I reached out to Martin, as was discussed between the maintainers, about the next Helm release, the patch release, and he's agreed to cherry pick the PRs early. So you should be doing that in the next couple of days. So the goal is that my hope anyway is that the release branch will be ready by the day of the release. So the maintainer will just be able to do, a little bit less work. The problem though, is that we have a bunch of, PRs on the milestone that are not reviewed. There's 7. The 7 PRs scheduled for 361 that are not, they're still open. So in this case, I don't know what the maintainer does in that case. You just if for enough, and you've been doing it for the last few releases, you just try to review them, or you just give up?
Well, what we'll do is the ones that are in there, we'll see what we're able to review and go through. And sometimes the last few patch releases, I've grabbed somebody, even with the last minor release, and we would pair and start going through them, because many of them will need 2 maintainers on it, and we'll pair and we'll individually review and talk them through. And so at some point, we probably need to go through and just start reviewing a bunch more of those. Be nice if the maintainers could all carve off, maybe an hour a week and just go through and review some of these. Would be a big help.
Okay, I just wanted to bring that up. So the process, we'll see if we can make it easier. That's it. That's all we have. Let me just check. Nothing was added. No. Moderator notes and issue triage. I see Adam already volunteered for triage. Thanks, Adam. Moderator and notes. I'm not here next week, so I'll abstain.
I'll do whichever one we don't have a volunteer for. We don't have to keep everyone here while we try to wrangle someone. We can find somebody.
I'll do moderator.
And Bridget will do notes. Thank you. All right. 12 minutes left. Thank you for coming. Have a good rest of the day. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.